All right, guys, good evening. So, this is what's going on in the after hours overnight market as the futures just opened about an hour ago. So, the US dollar is continuing to kind of bear flag after this down move. So, we don't know if the bear flag will persist or it will actually fail the move. So, if the move fail, you just want DXY to go above 99.24 and potentially confirm above that. So the 200 simple moving average for the daily chart is around 99.475 right now as we speak. So if this were to spike up here and closes and then retrace back to this area, it just needs to hold that area to potentially go higher. So if that was to happen in the coming days, then there's potential that the market will sell off because a stronger dollar usually doesn't mean that it's good for the market. So it usually has an inverse correlation. So when the dollar's up, market's usually down. It makes sense if you think about it. People are piling into cash, basically taking profits, putting um, basically that's what happens when you take profits. When most people are taking profits, the dollar should increase in value while the stock prices are going down. So US 10-year yield hasn't moved yet. I think this will start moving here in the next hour or so. So the ES has already started moving. It's nowhere near support or resistance. Resistance would be up here at 69.03, followed by all the way up here at 69.29, and there will be more resistance 69.40 going all the way up to 69.51. And then if it just shoots up, it could go all the way to 69.93. If it goes up to 69.93, it could potentially make a new all-time high there. And the question is whether it will pull back sharply from there or confirm above. So if it confirms above, you just need a daily close and a continuation move to the upside. So we could be looking at year-end target of around 7,500 on the S&P if that were to happen. Otherwise, if this were to start rolling over, you have your midline of the channel right here around 67.30, followed by the lower end of the channel, which would be around 65.25. So the Nasdaq, the Nasdaq's kind of still stuck underneath this trend line right here, similar to the S&P. It's all showing similar signals right now that it's running into some type of resistance because these were support at some point. It was upsloping trend line from May 23, and then we have this upsloping parallel channel that goes back since April. And we broke those two trend lines right here. I think I've mentioned this numerous times in my past videos. So we broke it here around November 17. We tried to retest that area very quickly on November 20th, and we actually confirmed the breakdown there. So now this is all retraced to that breakdown zone, which is why it's looking like it's stalling. It's been up for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 days. This is the 11th day today, so 11 days in a row. So we should see some type of pullback, maybe to the midline of the parallel channel right here. And then the Russell 2000, same type of deal. It's been up for basically 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 days. So if this were to rally up to 25.54, I would short it there as well. I could even, so this guy is one of the guys I watch on YouTube. He's a little bit on the bearish side, but he does have a point sometimes. So trade a bit right here. If we go to M2K, that would be for Russell 2000. I'm just gonna dip my toe in the water here, so I'm not gonna put 2 on the position. I'm just gonna put 1 in case it does rally up all the way to 25.49. I would just set my stop loss anywhere above 25.55. So my limit order would trigger at 25.40. I would say 25.45, and then I would just stop out at 25.55. And then my target, if this pull back sharply from here, once it reaches that area there, would be right here. So this was previous pivot top. We broke out, we even went below it, and then we broke out again. So 24.90 would be a good area to unload. if it was to pull back sharply from potentially moving higher. And then lastly, the YM. So YM right here is still kind of stuck here. So if this were to rally up, I would say rally up all the way here to 48,217, then that would be a good area to short. So over here, I would say if it rallies up to 48,100, so 48,100, that would be a good area to start. Just set your stop loss at around 48,300. And I would say if that were to happen, this thing could pull back to, I would say, right here. As you guys can see, this used to be pivot top, broke out, retrace, became support. So it makes sense that 47,800 would be a good level for it for a bounce. Right now, some of the indices are already in the red. We'll see if that change. Gold right now is up a little bit, but it's still stuck in this downsloping trend line. So if it breaks out here, there's going to be additional resistance at 42.55, followed by 42.75. Silver is also kind of stuck um, beneath this upsloping trend line. So if we look into the 4-hour chart, it would make a lot more sense why I have those trend lines. So it broke down. It's just been kind of chopping sideways in an upsloping fashion. So 59.13 would be technical resistance, followed by potentially going higher above 59.33. If you could get above that, then there's really not much stopping silver from going to 61.18. Pretty much in a straight line at that point, and it might pull back sharply for potentially retesting the previous breakout zone, which could take it back down to 59.32 before potentially chopping sideways from there. So that's my thesis for silver right now. So the only thing you don't want for silver to do is to break this upsloping trend line. If this trend line were to break, then support would be all the way down here. But this support around 56.60 would be a weak support at this point because it's been hit numerous times. As you guys can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be the pit hit of this area. So that would make it vulnerable to potentially even go lower to potentially to 55.38. So that was previous resistance, which should now be support if silver were to go down there. And that would almost look like a M top if it does go back there. So a retrace back to 56.71 would make it a shortable level. Potentially, if it chops sideways, that means that silver might be going lower, maybe to as low as 54, 56 in the coming days. So that's what you need to watch out for silver right now. In the Bitcoin, the new weekly chart is open. So Bitcoin right now is starting to look like it's going to pull back. Last week's candle is definitely a doji candle. It may not look, you probably can't see it because of all the stuff that I have on here, but right now, this is what's going on. So this line right here, this is nearest term support. It is trading below it, which tells us that that is a level to beat right now. So this thing could go to 87,487, maybe potentially piercing that and going to 86,339. I already have my limit orders for long if it does reach these areas here. So I'd be looking to pick up some Bitcoin, and then potentially it could go to 92,236. So at some point, this may break out from this tightening uh, this tightening wedge or channel here. At some point when it breaks out on either side, it's going to have a big move. So if this breaks out, this thing could go up to 97,000, potentially hitting that target, even maybe even piercing that target to 97,100. Potential upside for Bitcoin and potential downside for Bitcoin would be around 86,339. But beware of this bear flag. So down move inside bar consolidation is not good to see. So we already have our measured move target that could take it all the way down to 69,000, which was previous all-time high if we look back in time. So price sometimes likes to do that. We haven't actually retested that area since we broke out back in November 5 of 2024. So that is a possibility if Bitcoin keeps going lower from here. So we just gotta watch the stock market closely, how things are moving there, to best determine where Bitcoin could be headed next. So right now, this is what the chart is telling us. Support would be somewhere between 87,300 all the way down to 86,422, and resistance would be between 91,545, 92,392, and all the way up to 95,475 to 96,971. And if you could break past that, there is another additional support, 98,547. And if you could break above that, then that would be a breakout for Bitcoin. So that is something for bulls to look forward to. If it could break out up 98,000, then Bitcoin could go to 100,000, even beyond that. So any pullback at that point to technical levels would be a buying opportunity. All right, guys. So that is it for now. I will keep you guys posted tomorrow, the pre-market, potentially, or even during intraday. Feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, if you learned something or two. Don't forget to follow if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out my updates. Feel free to comment any questions or concerns or any special requests on what asset you want me to do a technical analysis on, and share with your friends and family. All right, guys. See you guys. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.